Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. I think you're quite aware that our Monday's Zoom lesson, which I was supposed to conduct, unfortunately it's cancelled because of, I think, you're aware that they had security breaches. So it's okay for now. We will just try something new and ensure that learning still takes place. Okay, so let's go on to Macbeth because I wanted to go through some slides with you. And if you wish to benefit the most from this recording, I suggest that take down notes, exactly the way I'm doing it, so that you can follow through and you can understand. Okay, so we start with Act 1, Scene 7. All right. So if you see here, this scene is important because it shows us a few things. Firstly, we see into Macbeth's mind. All right, and this is done through his soliloquy. Okay, so you can please take note of that. All right, and the other thing that we will see is that how he's really weighing his apprehensions about killing Duncan, because he does recognize that Duncan is a very good king, and but at the same time, he also has to grapple with his ambition, okay, of becoming king himself. All right. The second thing we notice is Lady Macbeth's role in convincing him to kill Duncan. So we have to look at how Lady Macbeth influences him. Okay? You can write this down. All right. Okay. And finally, we see that once Macbeth, he makes up his mind, it's very hard to for him to turn back. So we will also look at Macbeth's resolve. All right. Okay. Hope everyone's doing well so far. Okay, so if you refer to the slides here, I'm so sorry, I hope you can see this. Okay, so like I mentioned, the soliloquy actually gives us, really, we can see into his mind, and that's the importance, right, for the readers, for the viewers to actually be able to see his thoughts, really. And Macbeth, he leaves the banquet which he has actually organized for Duncan to really contemplate over things. All right, so initially we see at first, when in his soliloquy he's like, okay, I'm not going to do this, we shall proceed no more in this matter, right? He tells Lady Macbeth. But Lady Macbeth, because she's also very ambitious, as we discussed, right, in the previous chapters we saw, she convinces Macbeth. And how she does it here, how does she do that? Basically, she cuckolds Macbeth. Okay, she challenges his manhood. So if I can bring you back to your text here. All right. Could you please highlight this part? Sorry, yeah. So she challenges his manhood. Okay, she cuckolds him. And because he doesn't want to look less of a man, he actually agrees to what Lady Macbeth says. Okay, and then finally, of course, the scene ends with Macbeth becoming resolved to kill King Duncan. All right. All right, ladies. So continuing on, you see on page 87. Okay, I'm so sorry, the camera is not focusing. All right, so we see Macbeth. He starts off by using a lot of conditionals. Okay. For example, if it were done, if, might, but. Okay, so he's basically like trying to sort of imagine the thing, the murder. And what is very interesting is there are lots of what we call euphemisms. Okay, could you please write that down? Meaning that he doesn't really he doesn't refer to the murder as murder. Okay, he uses a lot of pronouns. For example, if it were done, when this done. Okay, and here talks about. Okay, yeah, so we notice a lot of euphemisms there. Okay, it again. All right, because the whole purpose of these euphemisms is that Macbeth himself is not able to name the deed. Means he's not able to say that he's committing murder. And that is one of the signs that Macbeth is very troubled, and he's quite he sees these he sees that as a very heinous crime. And that's why, in his language, when even in his soliloquy, when he's thinking about it, he doesn't use the word murder. All right. Okay, moving on. Ladies, note that there's biblical allusion. This is then to it were done quickly. So this is the part when Judas, when he's contemplating betraying Jesus. Okay, it's something along those lines. So here, the reference to this biblical language here, especially to Judas, is actually that is mirroring, okay, that Macbeth is like Judas, and he's going to commit the greatest betrayal of all time, okay, to King Duncan. And we already established in the previous scenes that King Duncan, he's the chosen one, right? He's the chosen one by God. So in that sense, Macbeth here is a traitor, just like Judas. Okay, so you note the language used here. Okay, so he says, if the assassination could trammel up. Okay, trammel here means entangle. So if it's possible that, when I murder Duncan, he basically doesn't want any consequences. Okay, so that's the thing that really bothers him. He just wants to murder Duncan, and then he doesn't want any questioning. He just wants it to be over right there and then. So that's why he says, like, I wish this could be like the be all and the end all here. All right, but of course here we see that Macbeth is very, very he's not worried just about the murder. He's also very aware of the consequences that will follow. Okay, so here basically he's saying that if only, like, like a net, like, how a net it just encompasses or catches like the fish. So here he's saying, if only the effects or the consequences could just be trammeled up. All right, so here do note the S sounds are very prominent with his success. Okay, the use of sibilants. Use of sibilants here, we can say that you could write this down. Sibilants means the S sounds are very prominent. Okay, it's sort of slowing the pace down. Also to reflect the very contemplative mood of Macbeth. He's also slowing himself down to think of what he's about to do. All right. Okay. So here, but here, upon the bank and the shoal of time, would jump the life to come. Okay, but in these cases, we still have judgment here, that we but teach bloody instruction. So basically here, this part here, the reference to bank, shoal of time, with jump the life to come. So of course, we, by we he means the royal we. Okay, it's just referring to himself. And he understands that he understands here. Okay, in the notes I've written that there's still punishment in this world. Okay, and he seems to be more concerned about the punishment in this world than what happens in the afterlife. Okay, we have so he says like we have judgment here. Again, the word here is referred to twice. Sorry, thrice in fact. If you see this, yeah. Okay, here meaning on earth, and when we see him saying, we but teach bloody instructions, which being taught return to plague the inventor. Could you please highlight this part? Okay, bloody instructions which being taught return to plague the inventor. So basically, what he's talking about karma here, really. So what goes around will come around, and so he's saying that if I am, committing such acts of violence, all right, I meaning he's the inventor, right? He's the inventor. So it will come back eventually. People are going to learn it. It'll come back eventually to haunt him. Okay. Okay. So later on he goes on also to say this even-handed justice commands the ingredients of our poisoned chalice. So it's like saying, like, sometimes when you because like your deeds always have consequences. So if we prepare, let's say, poison for the others, okay, justice here being personified, right, ensures that we end up drinking that poison. Okay, and because if you see your notes, right, this the use of the word chalice here is the ornamental cup used in religious ceremony. So again, we are reminded of the heinous act that Macbeth is about to commit. So like killing Duncan is really it's going to be a huge sacrifice. So again, going back to the euphemism here, again he doesn't say the assassination or the murder. Instead, he uses terms like bloody instructions because he's very, very aware of what he's going to do. All right. So moving on. Okay. All right. So here, if you read from the notes, justice is equal to all, and like karma, or in this case our deeds, forces the one who spikes or puts poison in other people's drink, right? It forces the person who poisons to drink his own poison. So that's what he means in the previous previous quote about the chalice, the poison chalice. Okay, so here what Macbeth is contemplating, slowly he starts to think about Duncan and his relationship. He's here in double trust, all right, and he here referring to Duncan, all right. Okay, double trust. So basically, Macbeth is saying that he trusts me doubly. There's two reasons for which Duncan is trusting me, and therefore I have my responsibility to protect him, to take care of him. It doubles up because number one, I'm his kinsman. Because if you remember, Duncan really loves Macbeth because he's a cousin, okay, and his subject. All right. So not only is he cousin, he's the subject. So he has that responsibility, like he's a citizen. So he has that responsibility to take care of his leader, to take care of his king, to respect him, to protect him as a citizen. All right. And then of course, he's the host. He's the host. So Duncan is living in his house. So just imagine, right? Like Macbeth understands this, that oh, Duncan is living in my house. I mean that Duncan is come as a guest to and is living in my house, and if I do something like this, just how horrible that kind of crime will be. It'll be very different if, let's say, Macbeth goes to Duncan's house to murder him. Here Duncan is staying, and then Duncan is staying with that full trust that my host is going to protect me. All right, but despite this, here the host kills, right? He's contemplating murder. Okay, so who should against his murderer shut the door? So as a host, if you're a host, you have guests over, all the more you should ensure that nothing happens to your guests. You should be shutting the door. So if there is someone who's trying to murder your guests, for example, you would be the first to shut the door against the murder, not commit the act of murder yourself, right? Not this is what he means, not bear the knife myself. Okay. Besides this, Duncan hath borne his faculty so meek. So basically what he's trying to say is he has exercised his powers very well. All right, he didn't abuse his powers as a king. Okay, you can write that down. Okay, and he was very fair, he was very just. All right, in his hath been so clear in his great office that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off. Taking off meaning taking off from where? From earth, right? So the murder. Okay, so here basically Macbeth he recognizes that Duncan is such a noble person, so great as a leader, so great as a king, as a person. His virtues will plead, so like angels, trumpet-tongued. So even after his death, his virtues, his great deeds will speak for themselves. Okay, and pity like a naked newborn babe. Here, pity is, the analogy is that it is a naked newborn babe. And then maybe you can think about why pity has been linked to a naked newborn babe. Okay, so of course number one is that the idea of vulnerability, purity. Okay, it will strike the blast of heaven's cherubim host upon the sightless couriers of the air. Okay, so shall blow the horrid deed in every eye. So even heaven will be roused to sort of how do you say to ensure that justice is served, and everyone will be able to see that Duncan definitely did not deserve this kind of murder. Okay, and tears shall drown the wind. Okay, so he understands that even angels, even people, even those in heaven, they will be moved by this death. And later on we will see how nature, right, when Ross is talking with the old man, I think before we went off for the HBL, I mentioned that part, that there are signs in nature that Duncan's death is indeed, it's going against the laws of nature, because as the chosen one, as the king, all right, his death actually brings a lot of calamity, okay, in nature itself. All right, so here, sorry, it's very interesting. He says, I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition which overleaps itself. Okay, could you please highlight this? All right, so let me just bring you to that here to your slide. Can you find this? Okay, so this is an important quote, because here basically he's talking about when a person is riding a horse. Now this is called a spur here. So basically what happens is when the rider actually pricks the horse rides faster. Okay, so this is how you get to control the horse, and you get the horse to go in the direction that you want and to ride faster. Okay. So basically what he's saying is that, I just have, my intent is just, ambition, and nothing more than that really to drive my horse forward. All right, so here we have to question ourselves when he himself has declared that, I don't really have, other than vaulting ambition, I don't really have any other intention. Okay, so, and he recognizes, right, vaulting ambition which overleaps itself. So too much, being too ambitious also, a person, if you keep doing that to the horse, it may ride really fast, and then it will often, overthrow the rider, right? So that's why it says overleaps itself, falls on the other side. So Macbeth actually recognizes the dangers of being too ambitious. Okay. But then we have to question then, if he is like so clear on this, so what eventually spurs him on? Okay, and that, of course, later on, as we see, is Lady Macbeth. All right. And yeah, so here we see, as he's in the middle of the soliloquy, Lady Macbeth, okay, Lady Macbeth enters. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so with the entrance of Lady Macbeth, basically they just chit chat a bit. How's Duncan? Did he ask for me? Okay, all those things. And then Macbeth, very clearly, he makes this statement: "We will proceed no further in this business." By this business, he means the murder of Duncan. All right. And he states his reasons to Lady Macbeth. He says, okay, look, he's honored me of late. All right. He's given me those titles. I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people. Please cross-refer this one to the part where the captain is praising him. Okay. CRF captains appraisals. Okay. If you remember the part where Macbeth, he's Macbeth and Banquo, they were referred to as lions compared to noble creatures like lions, eagles. Okay, that scene, yes. And I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon. So basically he wants to enjoy this glory and really believe that, I'm that great. So if I go and kill King Duncan, what will people think of me? Let me, live up to this title that Duncan has bestowed upon me. All right. And then here, Lady Macbeth, very quickly, she says, "Was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Hath it slept since?" Okay, and she's saying here, and wakes it now to look so green and pale. So basically what she's trying to say is, when you told me about all these plans, you were very ambitious. Were you drunk at that time? And is your ambition, are your desires waning off? All right, and now you're looking so green and pale. Okay. Green and pale in the sense from the green and pale from the fear of killing Duncan. Okay, so from this time such, okay, art thou afraid, okay, to be the same in thine own act and valor as thou art in desire? So basically what she's trying to say is, look, secretly, mentally, in your desire you have all these ambitions, but are you afraid to have these ambitions in actions? Like, a lot of us, okay, we can be ambitious, we want this, we want that, but when it comes to action time, right, we don't have the guts to carry the deed out to achieve our ambitions. Okay, so basically she's saying that over here. Okay, and here is when she cuckolds him. She challenges his manhood. All right, and she says, live a coward in Would you rather live a coward in your own esteem? So when she uses words like that, of course, Macbeth, as we all know from the captain's description, he's a very very brave soldier. But if for a man, for his own wife to say things like that, oh, are you a coward? What's wrong with you? You're afraid. Okay, so this is when Macbeth starts to get a little troubled. All right. And this is Lady Macbeth is quite the master manipulator here. All right. She knows exactly which buttons to press on Macbeth to get him to do what she wants. Okay. So she starts off like that. All right. So here she talks about the proverb. Okay. You can Google this one. All right. And then Macbeth says, I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none. All right. So he says that, look, what are we saying? I'm man enough, right, to do something like this. Is not that I'm scared or anything like that. And then she says, prithee please, sorry here. Okay, what beast was it then that made you break this enterprise to me? Okay, so basically again this imagery here, the bestial imagery. So what was it? What beast was it back then when you went on this plan? Okay, if you did it, then you were a man. Okay, you would actually be a real man. Okay. So here again you see the word like be the man, be more the man, all those terms here challenges his manhood, really. And and that is what gets Macbeth a little shaken.